Greetings to you all. Welcome to the first part series of a three-series webinar of Rise Again. Rise Again is an empowerment platform that helps women elevate their game, grow in their career of sport. And this is Rise Again. Welcome to the platform. I would like to introduce our panelists. Our first panelist is Mireli Mitch Amanda. She's a FIFA agent from the United States. Welcome, Mireli.
Thank you.
Our second guest will be Winger. He is also a FIFA agent based in Nairobi, Kenya. He just became an agent just the other day, but has been a scout for the last 5 years. Welcome, Winger. Welcome, Winger.
Thank you very much. Sorry, my mic was mute.
Not to worry, but I love the smile. Thank you for joining us.
Let me not talk much.
Yes,
We are
and
talking about the she factor.
And our last guest is Siombua Ekibue. She's the co-founder of Rise Her Game and also the founder and CEO of Skia. Welcome, Siombua.
Thank you very much, and thank us for everybody coming on board for this particular conversation.
Lovely. So we have a comment session. You're able to send in your comment or your question early. And if you have a pressing question, just type it on and we'll be able to address it when we reach to that segment. Moving on, this is Rise Her Game, a platform that elevates the woman in sport. Welcome. So let me tell you a bit more about Rise Her Game. Rise Her Game unites African top voices and brings on board strategic partners to comfort, to talk about the challenges that women are facing in sport. And especially this platform today, we're going to be talking about Kenya in a wider scope as we move to the conversation. It's a unique approach. We want to celebrate homegrown talent. We want to see how we can be consistent. We want to develop actionable strategies and recognize who needs to be recognized. So are you ready to be elevated? Let us elevate the woman in sport. On to you, Mireli. Mireli, can you tell us a bit more about yourself, the work that you've been doing as a FIFA agent? And before you tell us that, I would like also to tell our audience that you were actually a footballer before you became an agent. You played for the Canon in Cameroon. You were a Cameroon by birth. And the other thing is you also played for a team that was playing yesterday. So a country that was playing yesterday. So maybe you could share a bit more light on that. Welcome, Mireli.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm Ami Rembala. I'm from Cameroon. I'm a soccer player, former soccer player. I play I have a very long career because I play for Canon Sportif in Cameroon, where we were a very big team. People that know Canon Sportif knows the team. And in 2002, I went in South Africa where I play for Mamelodi Sundowns. So I've been there for 13 years in South Africa. And I have a very good career with the team. And yet, Banyana is my team, is my heart.
Yes.
So after that, I have 2 injuries. So I have surgery. I have to stop soccer. But loving soccer and knowing what is happening in that field, I wanted to bring my modest contribution by helping our young girls because I'm today a FIFA agent. I have my license and I went back in Cameroon in 2019. And from there, I started to be, and I was doing coordination. I was supervising games, all the games that our first league, women first league have. And I wanted to be part of young development and soccer in Cameroon. and also around the world. Is why I decided to take that FIFA exam and becoming in FIFA. So today I have players that I'm following around the world, that I'm helping to sign contract, and that's it. I love what I do, and I will keep doing what I'm doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And maybe you could share in details later how you're elevating the woman in sports later on as we pick up on this conversation. And it's good that you've highlighted that there is career after being an athlete, and that is the kind of conversation we want to show our athletes, that as much as you play this sport, you can also be able to move forward in your career and go into managerial position, admin position. Thank you so much for filling that spot for a lot of women. And it's good to hear that you're already elevating some women in Africa. And I would like to move to our second panelist, Winger. He's also a FIFA agent, but based here again in Kenya and has been a scout. Tell us more about how your journey as a scout, what made you become a FIFA agent, and how you're elevating the woman in sports.
Wow, thank you very much. First, let me say sorry for my sister, Bayana Banyana. Things didn't go well
Whew.
yesterday, but
Yeah.
it's football, my sister. Don't worry. I know it's hard to accept. It's hard to accept, but I love your football. You guys play very well. I also felt pain, but anyway, that is it. So that's it. So my name is Elisha Winger or Ringer Ruth, as you can see. Um, I started playing football when I was a small boy, all through my life. I was a goalkeeper, but because my size, unfortunately, I'm not tall, dark, and handsome. Wairimo can say which one is failing me, but height was not me. Maybe I'm dark, handsome, but not tall. So as a
Oh.
goalkeeper, you need to be tall. So when I went to school, we had four goalkeepers who are taller than me. So I was
Mm.
goalkeeper number five. I would only be a goalkeeper during the class, the interclasses, which I used to get to finals. So when I
Mm-hmm.
finished high school, came played outside, tried here and there, but height and all these
Didn't
things.
work
So
out for you.
I could not compete.
And
So
that's, sorry, go ahead.
I focused on education.
That's okay. I totally understand what you're saying, and that's a good thing you've said, because the physical aspect of an athlete really matters in terms of representation. Do you meet the right? I hear this question a lot when we go to the pitch and when it's transfer season, and they ask so many questions like, oh, does he have the right, or is he going to get his growth span, or is she going to get her growth span? So I understand when you talk about the physique of an athlete, it's very important. But quite interesting that from a goalie, you became a scout, now you're a FIFA agent, and also an ally in women in sports. So thank you very much for joining us for this webinar. And on to our last guest, Siombua Ekibwe, co-founder of Rise Again, this beautiful platform we have, and also founder and CEO of Skia. Can you tell us more about what you do with Skia before you dive into why Rise Again was started?
All right, thank you so much. And Winka, probably it's just height, so it's okay. Uh, when it comes to Scare was born about 3 years ago. I believe we hit our 3 year mark this year. That was around February. It came out as a need, and one of the reasons as to why it was so important for me to have a sports commercial company specifically was because everywhere I went, there was a sports commercial company, and especially where I studied, but I was not seeing it translating back on the African continent. And so Skia was born because I needed to be able to show the business side of sports in a way where I knew how and how I learned how to showcase it, display it, and be able to provide a better economic platform for the sports on the continent. And that is how we ended up as only representing the African continent. But even though we have a lot of international partners, our main development area is developing sports on the continent.
Fantastic. Tell us more about Rise Her Game.
Rise High Game was also another initiative born out of need. And this is because, one, we are women in sports. And there, as much as I was an athlete, I believe, when I was in primary school, a swimmer. I believe you already know that. I won you
Yes.
on the last competition
Oh my
to
goodness.
represent
Yes, you
Kenya.
did. Yes, you did. Yes,
I,
you did.
we did. So it's such a small world that we get to do this again very many years later. But
Yes.
also because the experiences that we had as women athletes and what now we have when it comes to management and seeing what athletes from different backgrounds and different sports are going through. Rise Her Game is here to be able to be that commercial entity and create value onto the sport. Because one of the things that we kept hearing all along was that the reason as to why players are not being paid the same, the reason as to why they are not receiving the kind of treatment that we expect is because again there was no economic value. And so Rise High Game came in to say, I know there is economic value, I know where we can get it from, and I know we are able to be the people to bring it to the forefront with being able to educate our players, being able to showcase their talents, being able to at least work with several brands that are willing to work with ladies on the continent in order to showcase their skills and also be able to safeguard them from some of the situations that they are dealing with.
Fantastic. So thank you all for the beautiful introduction, and we really look forward to hearing what we are going to elevate our players and everyone who is in the ecosystem. So once again, I would like to welcome our audience, and just to repeat, we do have three key powerful panelists. Our panelist today is Michelle Mirelli, a FIFA agent from USA. We have Winger, a FIFA agent from Kenya and a scout, and Siombo, a commercial entity and founder of Rise Again. So right now, I would like to move to the first segment of this webinar, and we would like to address the underrepresentation of the African women in sport. This is a three-part webinar which we focus on the theme, the future of African women in sports. So on to you, Winger. Tell me, beyond,
So thank you very much. Thank you very much,
yes,
Wairimo, for giving me
yes,
this. What I would love to say is, number one, it's very important and very good that you're having this conversation because it's the best and the most appropriate time for us to have this. To be very honest, most African players there's a lot of underrepresentation. And what do I mean by underrepresentation? I can confidently tell you that more than more than 95, if not 98% of our players who are playing now, speaking from a point of age, being a talent manager, they are not, they don't have a representative. Even if you look at, even let's say, for example, the scenario of Kenya Premier League, I can confidently say that 100%, if not 99.9% of those players are not under any management. And how is it not good for them? First, most of our players have not been sensitized on the importance of having an agent or being represented. Number two, some of them have got wrong information about being represented and why it is important for them. And this has caused, has created a gap whereby some of them are being abused or being underpaid or going through some abuse in one way or the other, but there is no one that can defend them or can talk for them or can be able to negotiate on their behalf. Most of even our teams do not support. You realize when you approach a team, as an agent, that I'm an agent, I'm presenting this player, they don't want to negotiate with an agent. They want to negotiate directly with the player because the players do not know their right. So that underrepresentation has also created an imbalance, in that there is no balance when it comes to players. This is both gender, not only female, as much as we are talking about the female football, because personally, we cut across. I have both female players and male players. It's the time that now we are talking about it, but intensively in Kenya and also even across the globe, most of the players, if you go to Europe and you randomly talk to a player who is maybe, from development and they are getting into semi-pro, the most in Europe, they have implemented the law, that the FIFA regulation that players should be represented. It is not easy to find players who are being assigned in teams without an agent. And actually, in Europe currently, Qatar, Middle East, they are insisting that for a player to sign, they must have an agent or a representative.
So, okay,
In
so
Kenya or
Winger,
in Africa, that has not taken place.
okay, so
Yes.
sorry to cut you short, but Winger, what you're saying here is one of the key things that make our women not get the visibility or be underrepresented is because they do not have an agent, one, and because they do not understand why they need an agent.
Yes, number one, we have not appreciated the role of an agent. From the players themselves, they have not been sensitized on why it is important, and this has exposed the player in that, number one, most of them are underpaid. Sometimes their rights are not, uh, respected. They can be abused, or they can be manipulated, or they can be taken advantage of just because they don't have the representation. So
Okay.
it has created an imbalance in both angle, and most of the time we realize that it's there to the disadvantage of the athlete.
Okay.
Secondly, or third,
Mm-hmm.
you realize that they may not be able to get exposed to the right contracts or to some opportunities that they would have gotten to, because when a player is not represented, an athlete is not represented, it means that this player is walking to the field with the mind that if someone will see me, well and good. If someone doesn't see me, they will just sit there. But
Okay.
if they are represented, then there's someone who will be able to forge for them and can always defend them and also express their issues on their behalf. Yeah.
Thank you for that. So now I would just like you to break down exactly what a scout, an agent prioritizes so that the athletes in this platform today who are listening to us can really understand for you to be for a scout to actually look at you, for an agent to want to work with you, what must an athlete prioritize in terms of them being marketable? So, how do they bridge that gap? Let's start from the word go. The talent is there, the talent is ready. So, give us 2 points that a scout or an agent looks for or prioritizes so that our athletes out there can be able to work on that.
So just maybe on straight on, number one is the talent, because what I'm representing is the talent. That is very key. But the most important thing is, as much as I'm representing the talent, I'm representing the person. So many players do not really know that a team signs a person before they sign the talent. A
So, what is
person
that?
is your
What Winger?
character.
What is that thing? That person who is going to be signed, who is the talent, the scout, the brand, the club is looking for. Would you
So
give
when
us
I'm
some
talking about
insight on
the
that?
person, I'm referring to the discipline, the character. So one thing that players normally don't take into consideration is the discipline. Because even for myself, I would love to work with a player who is disciplined. I would be happy when I am engaging a player. I want to see the discipline, the character, their values, and who they stand for. Because sometimes I normally tell players that most of the players you see playing top football, they may not be the most talented, but in most cases, the discipline, their personality, the character keeps you there. So if you may be so good, and yeah, you are good, you are good talent, but you are a difficult person to deal with. On the other
Okay.
side, teams also sign. There's a level in football where the character, the talent is good. What we are looking for now is the brand. And there are teams that will even check your social media pages. They will check on, you are following the brand that you represent, because you realize they may have like three players in that, or two players, and they want to sign one. So they are looking for everything. Like, this player is good, the character is okay, but now what else? When we sign this player, for example, when which team? This Saudi Arabia team that signed, what's the name? Ronaldo. The name that this team, was it El Tihad?
Mm-hmm.
When they signed Ronaldo, their following moved from 13 million to 26, it doubled or it tripled up billion, something like that. Meaning,
So, Winka, what I'm hearing is you're saying that the athletes should build their brand to a point
yes,
that the clubs are able to recognize them and they are visible. So, I would like to hold that conversation there and move to Mirelli and ask her, because she is currently in the United States, whereby visibility is key. Branding is big in America. So, on to you, Mireli. Tell us, what makes an athlete irresistible to a brand?
Thank you. We have a lot of problems. Like Mr. Winger was saying, it's important to demonstrate that. I like to talk about women because in sport in general, we have uh, this potential. Because if you are commercial, you are not commerciable, it's a very big problem. But how to get there? As African, we should have communication, media. We need media. We need sponsorship. We have to fight against that exploitation. But now to have a good player, we have a very good player in Africa. But for me, as you was asking, to be a top player for me, to be a good player is someone, the athlete that want it, the athlete who have a passion, who decided to say, this is my life. Because when I'm talking with a athlete, if I don't feel that this person want this thing is what he want for his life, I won't work with you, because you must be patient. You must have that patience to play in soccer, to love what you do, to have that thing on you. Now, when you're talented, it's easy to go anywhere. Now, to be anywhere, the job that we are doing as agent is to make you be in that level. To be in that level, you must have that. She was talking about uh, commercialization of player. You cannot take the player, like I cannot now. I have player in Cameroon. I have player in Kenya. But how to take those players to United States if we don't have a nice CV, a video, and if they don't know them?
Okay, so I hear you, Mireli, and that's a good thing, because what Winga was saying is what you are mirroring and saying that an athlete has to brand themselves, an athlete has to be visible, an athlete has to be able to show that passion so that when the agent comes on the ground, As much as you're talented, as much as you have the discipline, the scout also wants to see, the agent wants to see the passion coming out of you. And now I want to move to Shiombua, and thank you for that, Mireli. And I want to, these are challenges, even with Rise Her Game. We have, since we started working with Rise Her Game, we've seen that issue of trying to tell the athlete to be more, to be a brand first, because you have to brand yourself in a certain way. So Siombua, can you tell us some of the key challenges that we are facing as women in sports under representation?
Thank you for that question. When it comes to women in sports, we do have several challenges that we are facing as women ourselves. We do have the cultural situation because at the end of the day, even though we want to move in the pace of what the world is going, we still have our cultural background that we have to consider, and that is something that is actually quite an impact when it comes to how women are seen and represented on the African continent. We do have minimal coverage. I was recently just having actually yesterday having a conversation with Winger, and I was asking him, where are you watching the WAFCON games? Because as much as I can see the highlights, I really want to watch some of these games live. And so he had to show me a different app on where we are able to see it. But you come and realize, but that is not this is one of the major competitions, and a lot of people on the continent are not able to watch it. This is where women representation is coming in. This is where we are supposed to be seeing some of the best talent on the continent when it comes to football. But the access to this type of information is, where are people watching these games? Which apps are we supposed to be downloading? Who are we supposed, like, where, which TV stations are we supposed to be looking into in order to be able to catch some of these games? But you realize that it's also coming down to the Kenyan side. When you're looking at some of the women's sports in Kenya, we do not know some of the teams when they're playing, how they're playing. So not unless you're avidly checking online just to be able to follow a conversation, then you might actually miss when they are playing. So you see, that is on my end, limited access, because when you're looking at in terms of commercial value, one of the things that we have to showcase is how many people are watching, how many people are interested, how many people are coming to the stadium to see these games. But imagine if you're not in a position to even see it at the comfort of either your house or your phone, then how do we convince people to come to the stadium to come and see these young ladies play? We do have, of course, infrastructure. And one of the things that, of course, we fight most is the policy gap that we're dealing with. Why? Because we have all these FIFA and other federation policies for safeguarding players that are available. But at the end of the day, are they being implemented? Is it just but a document on someone's desk that is called a policy document? Or do we actually, are they actually being implemented into different teams, different chapters, different situations of where we can actually protect our female players from certain situations?
Okay, so you're saying that the main, one of the key challenges you have seen is the cultural aspect. And Mireli also talked about the visibility, which is media. And Winger talked about the talent in itself, how the talent behaves. Is it disciplined? So we've identified a few issues and a few challenges that have been facing our women in sports, especially in this continent of ours. So we have actually covered the first and the second part of the segment where we were talking
Yeah.
about what makes an athlete more representable, the challenges we are facing. And I would like now to have the three of you go into actionable strategies that we can use. How do we bridge the gaps? And I would like to go on to Winga again and ask you. You talked about the talent. How do you bridge this gap with the talent?
Thank you very much. You know, it's always very hard to be the first one to kick the ball, because whichever the direction you take it, you can either kick it the opposite side and you score yourself. So
Uh-huh.
the, The bridge is this, first, my sister Siombo has talked about cultural, and also Morel has talked about cultural barrier. For a long time, there've always been this issue of, people don't take the women football or the women sports very seriously. So we can see it, those of us who grew, in Africa, whereby
Mm-hmm.
when yesterday, after watching the AFCON, I was watching, I'm also following the UEFA, and we had yesterday, was it Italy playing against England, and you could see how the stadium was packed. When you normally attend our Kenya Premier League female matches, it's barely handful of people. So the first thing is we have to first have to sensitize people to embrace football. Kenya, the only Kenyan team that has ever seen World Cup is the female football. If you look
Mm-hmm.
at our female sports, even in athletes, that is field events, the people who have really carried our flag so high are also female. We had Faith Kipyegon the other day. She was doing the under 4 minutes challenge. She's the first in the world, female to pick that challenge. If you look at our female volleyball, our rugby female team, they are doing a good job. Our female volleyball team it's a big name in the continent. So there is a mindset that we've built that female sports is not very attractive. And when that is not corrected, even currently, it's just recently that there's this company that came up to support, to sponsor the female football. So in sports, when there is no financial support, these other things cannot, whatever, no matter how they can be goodwill, but if there is no financial support, so it becomes very difficult. So first, we need to do a lot of sensitization so that they can be, we can mentally accept and embrace the female football. Then secondly, we can translate it now to financial support so that we put our money where our words or our lips are. We talk it and we do it. So the moment we'll be able to accept it and believe, and then now money. And when we embrace it, we'll be able to fill the stadiums. The reason as to why most of the African football is Africa football in Africa is not paying well, it's because people are not coming to the stadium. And when people are
Okay.
not coming to the stadium, there is no money. If you look at Tanzania, where football is picking up, the stadiums are always full when you're playing. When you look at North Africa, when you look at South Africa. So we have to do this sensitization so that the public, the people can accept the female, sports, and support it by being there to support these women when they're playing. And when that support of the fans is present, then the financial support will just come because brands will bring in money. When people are attending the stadiums, they will pay, and the money will
Okay.
be there now. When there is money, now we can talk
Okay.
about commercialization.
I agree with you. There is need for us to support our women, and there is need for us to go and watch their games. So that's one thing. We need to change the mentality of how we watch women games. We have to be able to fill those stadiums. So that's a call to action to everyone. When we see our women players on having a game, let us go and support them. So that's one way we can bridge the gap by supporting our women, going to their games, supporting them on social media. So I would like to wrap that and say that don't just we tend to like and follow a lot of athletes, but how many Kenyan athletes are we following? How many Kenyan athletes are we following to the end of their career? Meaning we are supporting them digitally, we are going to watch them play, and we are buying their merchandise. So I understand you when you say there is need for support. Now moving on to
And maybe
Mireli real
just
quickly.
to remove before you take the mic from me, just to add
Mhm.
something. You know, we have to look at football or see football as a business and as a career, because, and even players, they have to see themselves as brands and present themselves in a way that they can be consumed by the market. So it has also to come down to the player. And what my sister Mariel said, how bad do you want it? And when you have that anger of how bad do you want it and how far do you want to go? How far do I want to build my brand? So that will prompt you to even build, see yourself as a brand, not just a footballer, but a brand that can be consumed. And again, the teams must also see themselves as brand so that corporates can come, because this is the question. A corporate will not just come and sponsor you and give you money. The question is, what am I getting out of the money that I'm giving you?
What is the value for a brand once they partner with you or collaborate with you? Mireli, what is the visibility like in America, and how do we bridge this gap in Africa? Because we have seen a lot of brands rally behind athletes in America. So, what do our female athletes need to do right now to bridge that gap? Is it in their presentation? Is it in their portfolio? How do they bridge the gap of visibility?
Yeah, thank you. Sponsor, sponsor is playing a crucial role in the sport. And to get there, my sister Kibra was saying something later on. We need to change our mentality, because you will see as a player, I will say for soccer player, you'll see is sometimes it's women, Africa women, because we have our culture. You will see women say, no, this sport is not for women. Any sport that women will do in Africa is not for women anyway. So we have those barriers from ourselves, first of all. And if I talk about Cameroon, because in Cameroon, I know better, we have some uh, advertise people that wanted to bring team very high, but we have our own federation, which is doesn't want things to work that way, because federation want to take everything, control everything, but you see president of team as struggling, paying transport for training section and all the rest. So we have problem ourselves. We don't help our young children to do sport. Now, if you look at what is happening in the United States, they understood long ago that sport in general is the best thing to have, and to be in the higher level like they are now in any sport they can do. They do how they know how. You see, last time Reebok went to young player, basket young player, just a young player, no name, no big names, to take them and give them Reebok as brand to start to represent Reebok. And from there, they will grow up together with Reebok, and Reebok will give them what it takes for them to be a professional. So if we have a lot of brand, we have things in Africa, but why is that those things, those organization, those brand, they are not going to our athlete to make them in that level? Because we don't believe on our athlete ourselves in Africa. We think so. Sport is not for women, and it's why we don't push. We don't push, because when I go to stadium here in United States, I'm always amazed, because you see parents are coming to the ground. Everybody is there. You see under 13 playing, you think it's the World Cup, because the ground is full of people. So if we first have to bring that culture on us, that sport athlete, it's nice to go and watch. You can watch your daughter, you can watch your sister Some parents in Africa, they don't even know their kids is doing sport. It's when
Okay.
he saw him, he can see him on TV going to, I don't know, AFCON, that he will realize that my child is playing soccer. So we have to follow. Is in a lot of, we have a lot of uh, difficulties because it's in many levels. So a
Okay.
player,
I
if
hear
you have
you.
a good player in Africa, I do believe we have a good talent athlete in Africa, but we are not, they don't have a chance to be followed. And people
Okay.
coming at like us, trying to help them, sometimes we also face barrier because people don't want us to show kids what is really happening. So yeah.
I hear what you're saying, and thank you for raising that element of the federation, which is also, and it's good for everyone listening today to understand that these are systemic issues. There are systemic issues, there are policy issues that need to be addressed from the top level going down. But also, what you're saying, Mirelle, is that we need to change our culture towards sports in general because there's already the culture that sports does not pay. And the reason why it doesn't pay is because we do not understand the commercialization of sports in itself. Again, you talked about the what Reebok did. It's a call to every brand out there who is in Africa and is trying to grow with them. You don't need the top players. You can grow with small athletes. Like Kenya has a vibrant talent team. It is vibrant. I would like to see more brands go into these teams, these young teams, the Harambee Starlets, and brand them and grow with them because sports, the young talent will grow and it will prosper. And thank you for sharing that. I would like to move quickly to Siombua. And as we finalize on bridging the gap, Siombua, you were
Yeah.
talking about the challenges that we face as women in sports, and we've talked about the athletes. But what I'm hearing from Winger and Mirelli, it's also the ecosystem in itself that is also a challenge because we need to open the platform to get into a discussion to Q&A. I see a lot of questions coming to us, so we'll be addressing them in the next few minutes. But I would like
Yeah.
to ask you, Siombua, we have had what the athlete goes through, but this is an ecosystem that we are trying to also bridge and break down the cultural barriers that are affecting us, we women in sports. Can you talk about what challenges we women who are doing either admin or coaching or being a FIFA agent or you like who is talking with brands and especially what you have faced in terms of commercial, the challenges you faced on that area? Just to get that out so that people can see that the challenges also mirror around the ecosystem.
All right. I think one of the biggest challenges that I have faced personally, and especially with player presentation as well, which is part of the things that we do on the commercial and even for brands, is just being taken seriously. If there's one thing that I've realized, and especially for the African woman, sometimes we are not taken as seriously as we should be. I've had very interesting questions being asked in terms of when we are trying to just have a player or try and present a player for a brand to work with. Recently we were with you when someone asked in regards to pregnancy. We What happens if I sign your player for 3 years and she gets pregnant in between? Is there a policy that safeguards that? And a lot of times you don't even get to see that part of the conversation because most times that is not what the public eye gets to see. That's what the back office is usually dealing with, and these are the questions that we also have to answer. And most of times we are like, well, when it comes to brands, especially if you're just doing the facial aspect of it, then a player can be pregnant throughout, and there are measures that we can put in place. But remember, if we are looking at a player who's actively performing, then we are looking at a situation of where now that's a performance contract. What does that look like? What are the situations that come into play in this situation? We cannot be in a place of where we are saying, no, you cannot get pregnant at all for the next 10 years so long as you're in a contract. Again, we've seen some perfectly amazing athletes who have even played while they were pregnant to a certain point. And so we know that it is possible for that to happen. At the same time, it is the funding model. Women are always underfunded, even when it comes to just normal paying. We are dealing with a situation of where I didn't even know this until recently, of where once a season ends, players don't get paid until the new season. And I was like, where is the cushion for that? Because that is not happening on the men's side. When you're signed on a contract, if it's a 3-year contract, you're supposed to be paid throughout the 3 years. It's not that now once year one has ended and because the season just ended, we're going to have to wait until the next 3 months are over for when the season starts again. And then now we pick up on the pay to continue. So what happens in between the 3 months? Where does the player go? What happens to that salary? I don't think that those are models that actually support women even when they are not training, because these are women who have to go for training every day. It's not like just because the season is over we chill and relax and cross our fingers. No, it's like she still has
Okay.
to continue training in order for her to continue
Mhm.
to be invited. And also their contracts are not guaranteed. Once a season is over, going back is not a guarantee, which is also a major situation, because if I sign a 3-year contract, it should be a guarantee 3 years, and not
Mhm.
once we get to 1 year and then we're going to think about it on whether or not to pick you for the next season.
So what you're saying here is we have the pay issue, we have the contract issue, and we have the negotiation issue. So players really, Winger said it in the beginning, and we really mirrored it, and you mirrored it again, and you said the player needs to understand
Yeah.
what is their value. So it also comes to the contract, the performance, how you, what value you have as a player in terms of performance, what value you have as a player in terms of a brand, what value you have as a player in terms of what you give back to the club in itself. When they sign you, what is their return on investment? So maybe women have not demonstrated that return on investment. That's why there's no cushion. But the question is, why why don't they have a cushion and the men have a cushion? That's what I had. So why is there a difference? So that is one of the challenges we have seen. And how do we bridge that gap in terms of what you've just said? How do we bridge that gap? Just
You see,
that one gap.
you see, at the end of the day, just like Winger said, sports is a business, which
Mhm.
means at the end of the day, we actually have to show value for the return on investment. I'm going to come in and say, like, I myself, I'm going to come in and spend about 300 million on one particular team in development, in growth, in rise. What is my return on investment for that? As much
Mhm.
as women game, yes, it does have a return on investment, but because we have limited visibility, we have limited presentation, it's almost impossible to prove the return on investment. Because if
Okay.
I come in, you see, as a brand person, if I come in and say I want to brand the jerseys of a particular team, and that team is never shown anywhere when they're playing, even if they're winning, then my brand is not getting the visibility that it requires.
So
And you
what
see,
you're
then I
saying,
am losing on brand visibility, which means I'm losing on my return on investment.
so I would like to cut that there and say that the solution here, how we bridge this gap is by by being visible. So to the athlete, what Siombua is saying, to move forward, you have to be visible. To be visible, we have to find a way to record your games. We have to find a way to highlight you. That's what I'm hearing. Because if the
Yes, and that
games
goes
are
back
not
now to
recorded,
management.
yes, management. So if you're going to play a big game and there's no recording, there's no highlights, there's no way we can be able to see you play. So you're not visible. So the call to action from a commercial point is For us to bridge this gap in terms of underrepresentation, let's get those games live. That's what I'm hearing. Let's get those highlights out. Let us go to the stadium and support our people so that the return on investment can come. Because how do we guarantee the traffic? We go and say we're having this game. How do we guarantee that those people, the brand is going to get its visibility is through the traffic that will come into the stadium. So we have to also be champions ourselves and champion the woman in sports. So the call to action here is let us go and watch our women. Let us support them. For every entry, let us highlight this game. Women who are in sports, women journalists like me, let us write about women. Let us showcase our women. Let us tell the right stories. Let us not portray our women as charity cases. You know, that's what I'm hearing
Yeah.
from you. So I would like to give the three of you to give us a takeout before we go into our Q&A for 10 minutes. And as we talk about what is happening with AFCON, that was our last discussion and our open discussion as we talk about the questions that are coming. Can you tell us, without no particular order, or we could start with you, Siombua? No, let me start with Mireli. Tell us how are you going to moving forward? How are you going to elevate the woman in sports? Give our audience a call to action. Tell them what you can do for them and how you want to elevate them.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy because my brother Winger wanted to pass the ball. It's nice to pass the ball sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah, in women's sport, in football in particular, I would like to tell all our fellow African that it's possible for Africa to be on top. For us to be on top, we have to work together. My sister was saying something, and it's true. If federation cannot help team, cannot register for a confederation like a CAF to give the game to everybody to watch those games. I think if we want to make our soccer be international, we have to make sacrifices. CAF can also say, okay, for this event, since teams are going to 12, I will make this happen to Africa country. I will give the game for free for people to look at it and to see what is going on in Africa. So we have a lot of things to do. We have messages to bring, to take to federation, to CAF, for them to understand that we have a lot of work to do to get there. So as agent, I'm willing and I'm ready to work for young people. And we, like I said, we need to fight for exploitation for young girls. We need to make people understand that sport is good for even African people. So let's
Okay.
try to work
So
together.
how are you going to elevate the woman who is watching you right now? How can they reach you? What are you doing right now that it's your call to action? We are in the transfer season. What are you looking for? What position do you have? The audience here, if they want to elevate themselves right now, rise their game right now, how can they rise it through you? What is your call to action?
My action is to give chance to anyone. Like young girls, I'm giving them. Here we have a scholarship that I'm giving for African girls here in scholarship. What I need is this video. She showed me a nice video. I can look for scholarship here for young girls or young boy. That is okay. And also, I'm ready to answer any call, any messages, WhatsApp, Instagram, everything that they can go through you to contact me. I will be able, and I'm ready to work every day. I'm working for young people, and I'm ready because I know we have potential in Africa, and we are the champion of tomorrow.
Fantastic. So, ladies, if if there's any gentleman, there's a call for a scholarship. You've been told she's ready to work with you. If you want to get an opportunity to go where she is in Texas, and she's able to assist you get a scholarship. So holler back at us. The platform is there. Tell us, and we will connect you. Winger, quickly, and I just want you to take a minute and tell us how you're going to the ladies and the gentlemen if that are listening to you, how are you going to elevate them moving forward? So what is your call to action?
So thank you very much. Number one, I want to challenge everyone, like parents, players, and even the industry stakeholders, that we have to move from the mind of doing sport as a co-curricular activity, like an extra activity, and putting sport as the main activity, because it's no longer. Let's move from the game to the sport. You know, when you're talking about
Okay.
the game, you're just playing.
Okay.
Secondly, so when I'm talking about sport, I'm talking about, let's think commercial, let's think business,
I
let's think
want to
career,
hear how
let's
your
think work.
call to action. Talk to our audience. Tell them how you're going to elevate them. What is your call to action? How should they reach you? Do you have something for them?
That's where I'm going.
Yes, because of time.
Secondly, I'm not talking about what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell them what I am doing on the 8th and 9th of August. That is next month. We are inviting all of you to come at Juja Preparatory for trials. We are going to have trials. We have invited both international and local coaches, scouts. We have secondary school. Last year, I was able to give around 15 players scholarships for secondary schools. This year, I've got more. I've got schools that have asked me for players, girls and boys, that is, from high school. Colleges are going to be there. I have a number of colleges that have confirmed, universities, they are going to be there. NSL teams, Premier League teams, they are going to come there. And also, some of the players will be lucky to get international scholarships and opportunities to go and either pursue education and sports. We have got opportunities in the US, we've got opportunities in Dubai, we've got opportunities in Portugal, Spain. Even tomorrow, I'll be taking a player to Spain, so he'll be leaving Kenya tomorrow. So there's so many opportunities. So come on 8th, let's meet, let's talk, let's connect. There are so many that you can be able to pursue. Those who want to pursue football purely, or football and education. And for those players who are looking for who can help me see the next level in terms of packaging, I help players with working on their profiles. I have so many players that I've met and I've helped them work on their CVs, help them know what to do when they are doing their videos. So I'm so passionate about it, and connect. There's so much that you can do, because the first thing for a player is your branding, how you look
Okay.
like, your packaging.
Winger,
One is asking about
before we
location.
lose the time, before we lose
Juja
our time on
Preparatory.
this, yes,
Juja
Juja
Preparatory.
Preparatory, is it a chargeable event?
Pardon? Yes, it's
Are we,
chargeable. It's
yes,
chargeable. The
okay,
charges are 4,500 per player. Yes. So you can check my Facebook, Elisha Winger, my social handle, Winger Ruth. That's on Instagram, and yeah, Instagram, you can reach me on Winger Ruth. Facebook is Elisha Winger. Yes, then we can talk and pick the conversation. Thank you.
okay. Siombu, a quick one. Can we get an extra 2 minutes? Or we
Yes, we can.
can we get an extra 2 or 5? Because we have to talk about WAFCON very quickly. So I have to talk about WAFCON. Quick one, Siombua, how are we bridging this gap on our end with Rice Game? What do we have so far?
When it comes to Rise Again, we have so much that we have put in place in order for us to be able to achieve the kind of leadership that we want for our girls. So one of the few things, a lot of the things, one of the things on the major things that we are putting in place first is education. There's one thing that we realized when we were having a conversation with our players is that a lot of people, a lot of them do not have the education the sports education that is required for you to actually excel, not only on the pitch but outside, on the outside platforms. A lot of players do not, being that they were recruited quite early, don't even know the safeguarding measures and protocols that are available as per the individual, what do you call this, oh, I've lost I've lost my line. Um, Federations. Each and every federation has safeguarding protocols for players, but we came to realize that a lot of these players do not know them. And so we had to go hand in hand to go to different federations, get their different safeguarding measures in order for us to be able to create a document that actually blends in all of theirs and ours, so that now we are able to actually train these players on what safeguarding measures are, both with coming in from FIFA, from local federations, and from ourselves as well. Education is one of the things that is going to be able to be the game changer in all of this. One of the things we are putting in also is education on financial management, because once you become, even before you become a professional player, you need to be able to learn how to manage your finances. You need to be able to learn how to distribute this money so that it actually works for you for a longer. What does investment look like? Current investment, future investment. What does that look like? It's not about now that I am in an SQ and I'm earning 28,000 a month now, I automatically move to a 3 bedroom in Kilimani. Is that you need
Okay.
to be able to find a way to make that money last longer, because again, a sports career is short, and therefore we need to look into what's going to happen after your sports career. And that comes in also with the sports education for what is it after sports. You do not have to quit the sports industry completely. You can actually go into management using the skills that you have learned while on the pitch, so that now you're in a position to help others on a professional setup. We who we are in management
Oh,
are the back office. Not, it doesn't mean that you have to be an athlete to
okay.
be in the back office, but having an athlete background also does help.
Okay. So I will I would like us to be on screen and talk about. You said we have how many more minutes? Can we ask our audience to give us an extra 5 minutes if they don't mind? And we will have
Yes,
a
but we
heated
do have a
conversation.
couple of questions as well.
Yes, so I want to just, this is what I want. Let's talk about what is happening with WAFCON. And WAFCON is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful tournament. What is happening in Nigeria, first of all, there is the 5 substitute rule. Siombua, what can you tell us about it? First of all, I just want to talk about that because it's something that is in WAFCON.
Yes, this was actually recently added on from the 2022 edition in Morocco, which is the
Yes.
5 substitute rule, which is for the temporary, which is allowing for teams to have up to 5 substitutes in a game.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got the three sub window, and then plus halftime. This is so that at least athletes are in a position to recover well, and you're not straining because again, we do not have those many players that are playing in WAFCON. So it's easier to have such rules so that even the elite players who are on the team are able to rest and others are able to have an opportunity to play. We also have the uh, policy work, which is amazing
Yes,
because then again, we also have the minimum 72-hour rest before any game.
yes.
This is also allowing
And
that
I
we are not
think
overstretching our players when they are on the pitch. They actually get adequate time to rest before another game comes through. Yes.
I feel that is something that was very good when it was introduced in 2022, and then I like the fact that FIFA did adapt it in competition in
Yes.
2023. So this is what we are saying: get a policy that works, and it will work for women in sports. So
That is true.
based on that, you can see the fire that was happening yesterday. Dive in, people. Tell us who wants to go first? on the game for
No,
yesterday before we go into two questions?
even before we go to
Who wants
yesterday,
to go
Winger was
first?
complaining. I still want to talk about the 5-0.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
No,
Mariel, can you talk? Can you proceed? Mariel, go first.
no, I told you, I said that the 5-0 was, for me, I was waiting that. I was expecting that one because you have a coach that came in the competition thinking that she have a big team because she have two players, and she been talking too much, talking very how loaded to everybody, thinking that she's coming to take the tournament. But soccer is a reality. It's not something that you just play because you have players in United States or you have players in France. No, you have to make sure that you have the full package to go and do the job. So what's happened to the team, to my friend Zambia, is just what was normal for me to happen, because she have to prepare her team. Now she realized after the game and she start talking what she's supposed to say. We need visibility. We need player that play on overseas. If the federation doesn't give a chance to player to go overseas, talk to the federation to make player be professional for them, or have competition to, I don't know how many teams they are playing first league there, but they can say from 12 team to 16 team, and to have a competition, and that competition will
So
make players to be ready.
are you saying that's why they lost like that, Winger? Is she saying because of that, that's why the game was like that
No,
yesterday, Winger?
I'm disappointed with my coach. We lost because of our coach. We've got the best squad, and this coach just decided to abandon players like Helen Chanda. He decided to abandon people like Olubanji, Ochumba Lubanji, very good players. He had a very big problem in the
I
midfield.
know.
He had a very big midfield problem in the defense. He left the other goalkeeper. There's this other girl, a very good goalkeeper. He
To have
decides
the
to
second
play.
ball.
Yes, she decides to
What? Yes.
play an overage goalkeeper, just throwing herself and causing us very unnecessary goals. We lost not because of players. We lost because of the coach. And
Oof.
actually, that coach has to go. Anyway, I am so happy among the
Yo.
teams.
Okay. Okay.
The team
I
that
will
really,
react to that because
before you react,
it's something that
I
we
have to give flowers
no,
to
no,
to
no. I want to
Diana.
say something about coaching because it is something that is key to rise her game. We are very particular when we talk about coaches because we are trying to tell athletes the coach that trains you matters a lot. The coach
This
that trains you
We don't
matters.
have a coach. We have good coach in
we have good
in
coaches in
Zambia.
Africa. They
Why
are
we
so
have
good.
to take why we have to take
Sorry,
coach
Rosa.
from overseas? I don't want to say color to coaches, but why we have to change our coaches? We have coaching in Zambia, in Africa. We have good coaches.
Even let me tell you, last year when Zambia played the finals against South Africa, the coach was a black, was a Zambian coach. So the point here is we had a coach who believes that you must take players from Europe to come and win. Yet there are players who are very good who are playing Zambia local league and they were snubbed. They were not even called. So my question is why? Look at South
Siombua, your
Africa.
reaction?
Eh?
Siombua, your
No,
reaction?
I'm listening to all of them play, and at the end of the day, it still comes down to the presentation. It comes down to actually looking at the sport as a business. If the coach was there to actually make a business decision, inclusive of the country that is selecting these players, those would not have been the decisions that would have been made for the players to be taken to AFCON. Why? Because this was actually a highlight showcase on the
Mhm.
players that you currently have as a country. And so when you're taking players to a platform like that, they need to understand that we, the business people, are watching. because we are looking at which players are we going to scout next, which ones do we want to buy, which ones do we want to invest in. And so if you take some of the not some of the best players, then even us on the business decision, we are wondering who is in the back office and who's making these kind of decisions. And so even as much as we say that the coach, yes, did a terrible selection, remember that the coach is not the only one who's making these decisions. There are people in the back office who actually said, yes, take that player, let's leave this one behind. Those were not people who are actually making decisions from a point of no, or from a business perspective, or the fact that they actually wanted the best for their teams. Some make decisions out of emotions, and eventually what do we get? A 5-0 a 5-0 loss with your
But
team.
again,
You get
if you look, I
Nigeria
watched.
whooping you straight up.
Completely,
This is the
completely.
point.
It was a
The Zambian team, the first match they had, it was so clear that Zambia had a very faulty defense
Yeah,
and a very weak midfield. And if
true.
you look at even by statistics, they are the teams that have conceded the highest number of goals, and they
yes.
were conceding very flimsy goals. There
Actually,
is
yes,
no
I agree
way
with you.
there is no way you can concede as a coach. You concede 2 goals the same way, long balls, and you can't change it. You can't do anything, and you are not seeing. Nigerians scored like 3 goals, the same style. They conceded a goal against which team? This whatever was it, Senegal or
Oh,
whatever. Yes, the
Senegal.
same way. And the coach. So for me, I cannot blame the Zambian players. I
ah,
totally blame the coach. I cannot
and we are
blame the
good.
technical team because
Yes,
the person who
Actually, on
carries
that,
the
I
sole
agree with you.
responsibility is the coach.
yes,
On that,
and
I
that's
agree
what.
with you because they couldn't even match the long balls completely. And it was almost like they were shocked that they were. And I think once the technical team for Nigeria actually watched the games and realized that the weakest point for the teams are actually the long balls, they totally took advantage
They
of
did.
that, and that's
They
what put
took
them in the
advantage
earliest
of
lead.
it and alienated. That's
Now,
what I'm saying.
let's talk about Ghana. For me, the team that has impressed me most is the Ghana team.
Ghana.
Yesterday, those girls were beating, they were beating Morocco. When I watched their first match, I was like, they will not even go past they'll not go far. But yesterday, those girls played. They
They
played
played very well.
at. If
They
only
played with
they
their
lack
hearts on the floor, on
they
the pitch.
lost
Sorry.
because of 2 things: decision making and composure with the ball. Before they had so many chances, they lacked composure, they were shooting out. Secondly, decision making: when I need to drive in, they shoot early. What do I do now? So they were losing. Those 2 things messed them: decision making and composure with the ball before the goal. Otherwise, in terms of play, I'm still for Ghana.
But Ghana
Fantastic.
is a big team. Talking soccer, women's soccer in Africa, Ghana was since it was the second team in after Nigeria. It's just that things went down. But I think they realized they are busy correcting what he went wrong, and they are coming back to be where they're supposed to be.
Yes.
Another
So
team
I
that
would
I
like to end that. I would like to end that conversation there because there's so much we can talk about, but we have achieved what we wanted to achieve with this conversation and addressing the underrepresentation. Because what we've just talked about, what was going down at WAFCON, is exactly what we are talking about. When you go to showcase your best. Don't wait to showcase tomorrow. Showcase your best because you don't do justice. And it's the same thing even with women in admin in sports. When you get a role or you get one of those roles, take it because you can do it, not because it's a role that you and a woman needs to fill it. So it's the same thing onto the pitch when it comes to the talent. Not once, not twice, when we see a squad come out and you go like, but why isn't so and so in this squad? Why isn't so? So we have so many questions only for them to not deliver on the pitch. So what I'm taking from this conversation is underrepresentation is not just an athlete problem, it's the whole ecosystem of sports. So we would like to make it, to elevate you through this platform and bridge those gaps in terms of underrepresentation. So we look forward to your suggestions. If you have something that you're doing, you want to have us get involved, if you want to come to this platform and you want to discuss with us what you're doing, this is about elevating the woman in sport. So this is an open end to anyone who wants to join us for our next webinars. And since we have been allowed some time, and I see we still have an audience, my screen is a bit shaky. I want to take some questions, and I saw some nice ones, but I cannot see them now. Siombo, are you able to see some questions on your end?
Yes, yes, I can. We do have a question from Coach Eddie, and he says, a quick question to the
Oh, now I
agents.
see it.
This
Yes, now
will
I can
be,
see it.
yes.
I can, let me
Does
read it
the,
out.
okay.
Okay, did he ask another question? Because this feels like it's another build up to a different question. Did he have another question before?
No, 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 no. That was the first question.
Does he have another question following up onto that?
No,
Okay.
just the
Do we have
statement after
another
that.
question? Do we have another question in terms of, because he's asking, quick question for the agent. The agent, that is Mireli and Winger. Can you see the question? The functionality of our African F. I can't see this. My screen is. Please, Yombo, read it for me.
Does the dysfunctionality of our African FA create most, if not all, of the problems stated along with those reported via the news and our reporters?
That, ask that
Okay.
question again, please.
I will go first because I'm the younger, and
Oh, you
then
have the question. Okay, go ahead.
so I'll respond to the question is, does the dysfunctionality of our FAs has created, one thing I can say is, for example, one challenge we are facing in is even selling African players. You will find very quality players, but they do not have the requirements, like maybe the videos are not quality. Some leagues, some federations do not still broadcast the content, the games. Secondly, most of African players do not have transfer market. And in Europe or in serious countries, the first thing they will ask you is send us a video and a transfer market link. So that dysfunctionality, and in terms of packaging, in Europe, you realize even at 17 or 15, they already have transfer market links. But for us, it's a big deal. I can tell you, I even have players who have played at the national team and they still don't have transfer market. And if they are there, they are not up to date. So yes, the dysfunctionality of our federations are really affecting the value of our market and even our ability to sell players. Secondly, there are federations that are very corrupt and they mismanage funds, and that's why most partners or sponsors will not invest in those federations. And when there is no money, there is no game. You cannot demand a lot from players who have not been paid. You cannot demand a lot from a player who works part-time and plays part-time, and you want the player to compete against someone who has got top-notch, facilities, top-notch training, their salaries are paid, their allowances are taken care of. They cannot. So it's affecting the functionality and the operation. So there is so much evidence I can give, but because of time, I would love to share the mic with my sister.
Yes,
Yeah, no,
and
it's
just to
saying,
finish on that, sorry,
it's
Mireli, give me a
saying,
second. He actually gave a solution to that when he said that you're calling out and you're willing to work with players and athletes to help them package themselves well. So in regards to that question, I think the gentleman who asked it, his name was Eddie. Sorry, I cannot see my screen right now. But Eddie, that Winger has actually said that he's ready to work with any player. You can reach us through the platform and we'll send your request to him. He'll be able to help you and show you how to package yourself. So for any player that is outside there, please reach out and we will share your details with Winger. Thank you for that. Mireli, please go ahead. Do you have
Yeah,
an
Winger
answer for
say
that?
he say it all, because the dysfunctionality, we have a problem in Africa, like he said, is in many level. So for us to compete with this big federation, we just have to work on ourselves. We have player, like he was saying, that you have a player who have already a European ID. It's easy for him to sign in big clubs than a African player who's coming from Africa. He doesn't have a European ID. He doesn't have a transfer market. Those things are the team just have to go through and look at the player. But you have a very good player who doesn't, they don't know him anywhere. It's complicated for us to sell that kind of player. So it's a lot of things that we really want our federation in Africa to understand and try to work with agents, because sometimes we feel like agents, federation think that agents are a problem, bringing uh, communication and orientation to players. So we have to understand that we are doing the same thing differently, and we have to work together to make Africa grow.
Thank you, Mireli, for that. And just to add on that, on the patching shot, when you talk about a FIFA agent, you're able to, if you're an athlete and you want to know if this agent is legit, every agent who is licensed under FIFA and has gone through the test and has passed their FIFA agent test, they're usually listed, isn't it? So the two agents you're seeing here, you can find them, they are listed. So before you, if somebody comes to you and tells you they're an athlete, there is a database of the athletes and they are organized according to category. So that information is out there for you. So do not engage with an agent if you're not sure about their credibility. FIFA has already done that for you. They verify all their agents and they put their names on their website. So in terms of agents, if they're trustworthy, FIFA has already taken the doubt from that. I think the culture now is for the athlete to accept to work with an agent. Yeah. Siombua, do we have another question?
Yes, we do have a question from Evans Waweru. And although I'm not sure which one this one is directed to, so I think I will send it to Winger. And
Just
it's
put it on the screen. I see if I can be able to see it. I'm having a problem.
yes.
I
Have
think
you
that
been
one.
involved with grass? Yes.
I think that one we will keep it. We will not address that because that falls completely under talent development and pathways, and we were trying to look at the underrepresentation. So I would like the questions that are directed. I wish I could be able to see that directed towards the representation part, the agents, how to approach brands. Do you have any question in regards to that or a comment?
No, no,
Maybe
but I would
somebody is
definitely
sharing
like to.
something that we can be able to share with our.
Yes, I would definitely like to share that. We do have someone from LinkedIn who has said, I would like to offer 5 players a free subscription on a personal training digital platform app, which is amazing. And so if you are watching this from LinkedIn and you're a player, definitely go to this live link and you will be able to get the person who's offering the 5 players a free month subscription. We also have another one who's offered, if you need some guidance
Would you
on how
put
the
that on the
US
screen,
women
please?
transcend. Repeat that?
If you could you put could you put them on the screen so I can be able to see them? Oh, That is nice. We will reach out. Thank you so much for sharing that information. And I think, Mirelli, there is somebody also who is keen on women in sports in America who is willing to work. That is a beautiful response. And ladies, do not take these calls for action lightly. Please engage. These are everything that has come onto the platform. We will share it again. We will compile it and compress it and put it out there for everyone. Again, Rise Again is a platform that elevates the woman in sports. We appreciate you for joining us for this first webinar. It's the first part of a three-phase webinar where we'll be talking about a lot of things that deal with the woman in sports. And for our next webinar, we'll be talking about rights holding, which still works around underrepresentation. So we are looking for if you're interested in talking about rights holding, we'll be very happy to have you on board. And Siombo, I think we had underestimated the conversation. We had said 1 hour. So next time you're gonna do it for 2 hours so we are able to segment this conversation and pack it and just deliver the value we are looking for. What do you think?
Yes, we probably do an hour, 30 minutes. I think 2 hours is a long
Mm,
conversation, but it also depend
yes,
on.
but yes, yes, I am happy. Do you have anything? I give you a parting shot for us, we can do a parting shot. What do you want to say? What was your experience?
No, me, I'm very happy to be invited to the today, and thank you for everybody been watching. Dimitri, I saw some messages coming in. Thank you for everybody who was following. We just want Africa to grow in sport, so let us come together and do that together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Siombo?
Thank
I want to say that thank you everybody who joined us today. And as much as we were talking a lot about football, Rise Her Game actually covers every single sport where women are. So it's not just football. We are in rugby, we are in basketball, baseball. We are in every single sport that women are there. Rise High Game is there to represent the women and to be able to give them not only a voice, but also a platform for where they should be shining. I did see a comment on where someone had stated that they haven't heard of Rise High Game. And all I can say is watch this space. We are here. We're here to stay. And it's going to be a very loud impact that we are coming in with in terms of the player representations. And because I've seen, he said he's actually been to Africa Football Business Summit. I'm looking forward to meeting him, Mr. Ndege, if you're going to be coming to Mombasa for that one.
Oh, yes, I
I can't
met
wait
him
to
last
see him.
time. I did. Oh, I should
Ah,
have
okay.
said her. I met him last time. Last year, he came for the football summit. Yes, a beautiful initiative by Brian. It's amazing. I think we'll try and bring him onto the show next time, onto the
All
webinar
right.
next time. Yes,
Yes. Yeah. So
yes.
I'm looking forward to the many more webinars. You're going to be seeing more of different sports representatives. And so I'm looking forward to just continuing this conversation and being able to see the impact that you're going to have on the African continent and for the women in Africa in sports.
Thank you so much to all our audience. This was Rise Again. What we
I've
like to
not
do
given my
most,
parting shot.
elevates the woman in sport.
Why, why, Rimo?
Oh my
I've
goodness,
not.
sorry. Oh, I'm
You are
so
going to
sorry.
pay. You are going to pay.
I think I'm working with the clock here. I do not want to extend
I
the timing.
no,
I am so sorry,
no,
Ringa. I
no.
think,
You are going to pay.
forgive me. Go ahead.
In
Go
in
ahead.
sports, you make mistake, you are punished.
Oh, tell me about it.
So anyway, guys, thank you very much.
Yes,
I've
go
got a
ahead,
background
Ringa.
in
Sorry.
coaching. I've got a
Eh?
background in coaching. I've got a background in coaching. So you make a mistake, we penalize you. So you will be penalized. So anyway, thank you very much, guys, for joining. Thank you,
Mhm.
Simboa Rimo, for creating this conversation. I didn't know it will be this big when Simboa started this conversation with me. Thank you very much, Amand, for creating time in your busy schedule. within a very short notice, and you're like, yeah, yes, we can do this. So thank you very much. What I can tell us is like, sports business is like the game. You cannot play it alone. We have to work as a team. No matter how Zambia had the best striking, they are no longer in the tournament because their midfield, their defense was weak. So that is the lesson. So no matter how good you may be at as in one area, you need the other person. You need a good goalkeeper, you need a good defender, you need a good winger, you know, a fast winger, you need a sharp striker, and then the team works. So we need all the stakeholders in the sports mini industry so that we can make this work. So we
Yes,
need
and
you.
that's all the time we have. Winger, I have to cut you because of the time. We are 30 minutes ahead, and I would like to get people to go and rest now. So this was our first webinar. Thank you very much for everyone who has joined us. We are Rise Her Game. We like to elevate, and I hope you have been elevated. What we have discussed, we have addressed the underrepresentation of African women in sports. We talked about three key areas: the market, how to be more marketable, and the agent stress, the discipline, because talent without discipline doesn't go anywhere. But then they stress again and say even the quality of the talent needs to be measured. It needs to be trained in a way that it elevates that training. So it also starts with the coach. The coach who is training you has also to understand that this is a brand they are building. So they have to build it starting bit by bit until it's visible nicely. I like the idea of media because I'm in media, and I like if you look at Egypt, it's on the women's side, it actually records all its games. So it's easy for them to highlight and sell its and trade and transfer its players easily. In Kenya, we've seen a lot of athletes, footballers actually transition through Egypt and then go all the way to the Arab market. So these are things that countries are doing in terms of making women in sports more visible. We have what even in rugby there's a lot that is being done in football, in basketball. So we are all about elevating the woman in sports. I hope you've been elevated. I was your moderator, Walimo Nyabira. We had three amazing panelists. We had Mireli, Mitch, our FIFA agent from USA, and she's a former player and she has agreed to work with you. So if you want a scholarship, holler back. We have Winger, who is a scout, who is an agent and has already offered his services. So holler back at us also. And we have Siombua, who is always ready to help the women in sports. So this was us. Thank you for joining us. Have a good night. Or if it's morning for you, have a nice morning. If it's afternoon, enjoy your afternoon and evening. Thank you so much. Goodbye.